All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Outlaw Radio. I am, of course, the Outlaw Night. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the party. I hope you can all hear me pretty well today. I am happy to be here, happy to have a good time with you all. Let me turn down this music. Here we go. And I don't know if you can hear or not, but there, it's gone. All right, hi, everybody. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. I am happy to be here on another Wednesday. A little earlier than I normally do it, but Wednesdays are the days I'm going to get it done. And hey, welcome everybody. Laserbolt, good to have you here. And yes, Corey Kincaid. It's about time you subbed, you big old jerk. It's all good. Hi, everybody here on YouTube. Everybody who's following along later on. If you're here in the later crew, please be sure to leave a comment down below or check in any way you want to do it. Please check out all the links I've got going on there. But I'm going to not get out of order here. I'm going to do this in the way I like to do this. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. I am the All Adam Knight. I've been a professional wrestler since 1995, based out of Central Canada, right here in Winnipeg. And I have wrestled, the privilege of wrestling all across Western Canada, through most of the United States, be recognized by many of my peers all across the system. Please ignore my dog upstairs if you can hear that. And if you can't hear anything else over the furnace in the background, I am sorry. That kind of a day. I've had a couple of cups of coffee in Japan and more. Through that time, I've developed quite a habit of storytelling and more, and I've parlayed that into a fine little career where I've managed to create some books and some stories. All of them are available below. For a little bit more information on all of that stuff, I do ask you to check out my books at this time. My books are all available on Amazon.com. They are available in Kindle format. They are available in paperback and hardcover copies. If you like urban fantasy adventure, a little bit of supernaturally, but nothing too much, that would be really fantastic. Thank you to everybody here on the TikTok side that's joining in and showing me some love. I really, really do appreciate that. If books are not really your thing and you're more here for the wrestler side of me, please do consider going to either Great White North Productions in the link below or to ProWrestlingTees.com for all of the information, all of the stuff that I am doing. Of course, here is my standard Outlaw Night logo, which is always great. And here's the one that gets the people at Disney a little bit mad at me when they see this, but we're not going to talk about that one, are we? And anyways, if you can, take a look up here. If you scan the QR code, it is live, and that'll take you to my link tree, and all of that stuff is there if that's something you're interested in. Hello, everybody here on the TikTok. Hello, everybody here on YouTube. Thank you all for being here. It really means a lot to me. So, what do I got here? Hi, everybody. Frank Jacoby. Frank is one of our trainees at Blaze Pro Wrestling, and he's doing a damn fine job. Thank you for being here, buddy. Hope you're doing okay today. All right. So today's topic is one that's been meaning a lot to me the last little bit, and it seems more and more resonant every time I turn around, no matter what aspect of life I'm talking about. And that is our subject tonight, which is, of course, nobody does it alone. No matter how much we want to try to go the lone gunman route, for lack of a better term, we all need people in our lives that understand us, they care about us, respect us, and have some sort of understanding of who we are and what it is we're trying to do in life and otherwise. You have no true success in life by doing it all yourself. Anybody who's ever said to you, I am a self-made person, I've achieved all my success, and I've done it all without the help of anybody else, is full of shit, whether they know it or not. I'm not suggesting everybody's ungrateful with that, but I am suggesting that they do need to take a hard look at themselves and go, who are some of the people along the way that help me out with what we're doing? Now, I've got some examples we can talk about here. Obviously, in pro wrestling. In 31 years of pro wrestling, I've met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, most of whom very early on were all out for themselves. Didn't want to trust anybody, didn't want to engage with anybody, were constantly wanting to make sure they got themselves over at the expense of other people because they couldn't be made to look weak or soft or beatable or anything like that, because it would be no good for their character, no good for their career. When at the end of the day, by and large, most of those people ended up ending their careers right where they started. And while some of you are saying, hey, that sounds like you, Mr. 31 years in, still wrestling in Winnipeg at the end of your career, I would like to remind you all, I am the best goddamn heavyweight champion in all of Canada. I am the Blaze Pro Wrestling Canadian champion and will be defending that title all through the Red River X this year. But getting the ego out of the way, we do have to acknowledge the fact that that is also very correct. In 31 years, in spite of my best efforts to try to be helpful and generous and more with the people I was working with, I also tried far too often to rely on just being me, just trying to do the work, have the best matches possible, be as generous as possible with the people I was working with in the ring, outside of the ring. But very rarely did I ever say, hey, I'd really like to move on to the next level. I'd really like to develop these contacts, and I'd like to go forward with that. Whenever I did, I achieved more success. And that was a lesson that took me a long time to learn. And I didn't realize that I even still needed to learn it as I sit here now today, pushing the corner on 50, and realizing that, it's not just as simple as you don't ask, you don't get. Because obviously the fact of, being good to work with and being good to work for and having a good interaction with these people and putting in excellent effort is obviously incredibly important. It's incredibly, incredibly important. But nobody gets to the next level of anything in their life, in their career, without help. Nobody does it alone. In the world of writing and publishing, yes, I am an author. I'm a self-published author, and I have 3 books in this series, a 4th book out there, and a couple of short stories along the way. Pardon me. Over the course of 13 years now, since I published the first book, Cowboy Ending, on Amazon and Smashwords and a bunch of other places, I've had quite a bit of success. I've had a couple hundred of very great reviews. I've had several thousand downloads, and I've made a few bucks along the way. But it is very hard being a one-man show, to be your own creator, your own editor, your own graphic designer at times, your own marketing person, and your own best salesperson. It's a lot. It is a lot. And now I'm at the point in my life and in my career where I want to be spending a little bit more time on the creative end of things. That's why I'm doing this podcast, this live stream, for lack of a better word. That's why I'm spending a little bit more time getting myself out there in social settings. As a result of that, I'm starting to meet people, you know who you are, who have more insight than I do, have more connections than I do. Last year at this time, I was invited to go to KeyCon, which is a massive genre literary convention here in the province of Manitoba. Through that, I met excellent people in the comic publishing, in the graphic novel publishing, in the actual publishing world. I got to reconnect with some of my favorite authors. I got to meet Jim Butcher. I got to reconnect with Tanya Huff. And in that moment, I realized, again, how important it is to have these connections, to have the people in your life that have your back, that have walked the path that you want to walk down and can help you maybe not avoid the pitfalls, but let me know there are pitfalls ahead and there are ways for you to go with this. And that's very exciting. That's very helpful. Nobody does it alone. Going forward, I'm hoping to get all of my books recovered. I have a nice copy edit done on those. And as I work on the 4th book in the series, yes, there is a 4th book. It's called Power Play. I want to be able to have a relaunch with all of these books going forward and getting into more hands, getting into more people's eyes. Because I think they're worthwhile and they deserve to be seen. And I hope you'll all enjoy me in that regard when I get to that point. Nobody does it alone. And thank you, Corey. It's very nice of you to say. But that's what I'm trying to do now. Remind everybody that feedback is very important in all walks of life. Again, in our personal lives, this one seems obvious, doesn't it? Hard to get ahead in life without, support of family, support of friends. And obviously, I'm not speaking for everybody. I am blessed to come from a very lovely, almost regular nuclear family. Mom and dad are there. I've got a brother and a sister. I was blessed to have grandparents around and many aunts and uncles and cousins and nephews. And nieces and nephews now, that is, excuse me. And along that way, I had a lot of support, which is odd because for a good chunk of my life, in my teenage years, my early 20s, I felt so very alone. I felt like I had nobody in my corner. That's not true. I look back at that now and I acknowledge the difference. I know the difference. I've had a great deal of support. I have a lot more support going forward. Sometimes that support dipped and waned, and sometimes you have people in your life that you think are on your team and they're really not, but that's okay. If you're lucky enough to get to almost 50 years of age and to be healthy and happy and have some love in your life, then my friends, you're doing great things and you are not alone. And that will sustain you and keep you going through the hard times ahead. Finally, I would like to talk about how nobody does it alone in society, politically or otherwise. As we sit here in a very divisive time, and people will say it's never been this divisive. It's bullshit. It's been this divisive many times over the course of history. I mean, the Crusades are a little more divisive than this, if we're being honest, but be as it is. Kids in the TikTok stream. It is a very divisive time in the world. And what people are forgetting as they surround themselves in their silos and they try to say they only want the people around them that completely understand who they are and what they're about, and they shut off and cut off everybody else who might disagree with them out of fear of losing their place, fear of being seen as different, being treated differently, being told that they can or cannot be who they actually are. That way leads to madness. And while they think that they're huddling up and getting in their own little groups and doing well together, what they're really doing is sowing division, and they're shutting people out. And at the end of the day, those are the people who will end up the most alone. I'm not a societal expert. I don't have a poli-science degree, but I've got some history and some life behind me, and I will say this. Nobody moves forward on their own. Everybody is better when we're together. We are allowed to have differences. We're allowed to believe in different things. We're allowed to have disagreements. Through those disagreements, we find our common ground. And we find the things that we all have in common. And in those commonalities, we realize the differences that we have usually aren't that big of a deal. Unless you're a fascist. You can go fuck yourself. But even still, many of those people in that camp don't realize that's what they're doing. They're being fed a pile of lies and a pile of misinformation and going on vibes and going on hurt feelings, etc., etc. And even to them, I reach out and I say, hey, let's get together. Let's talk about those things that you're afraid of. Let's talk about those things you don't understand. And let's figure it out. Nobody does it alone. Nobody gets through life alone. Nobody gets through society alone. Thank you very much. Nobody, doesn't matter what aspect of life we're talking about here, professionally, personally, or otherwise. As much as popular mythological media, whether it's, Peter Parker or Bruce Banner, to use our Marvel references, or our Han Solos, or whatever we are talking genre-wise, as cool as they make it seem to be the lone adventurer out there in the world, trying their best to do what's right for them and occasionally do some right for other people along the way, those are the saddest characters in the world, and they're not the role models that you think they are in that regard. They become role models when they accept other people into their life and they work together with them going forward. Nobody does it alone. And that's really the topic I had on tap for today. I do appreciate everybody who's been here right now, hanging out, having a good time with me, including the guys over on TikTok who are trying to tell me that potatoes are role models, and that's fine. They're allowed to be spuddy, be into their, filthy eye-minded ways of being it, and that's okay. I appreciate them. I do want to thank everybody for being here today, and for everybody that joins in afterwards. If anybody else has any other examples of, things where they think, it's important to, any examples or any times in your life where you felt alone, or you've wondered how you get to the next stage of whatever thing of whatever situation you're trying to challenge yourself to get through. I hope you realize that you have a community around you, whether it's the people in our pro wrestling training classes right now who are learning that we are building a community together, we are building a friendship, it's all good. Whether you're out there in the creative world, think you're struggling away in your basement office like this guy, trying to hammer out, movie treatments and, plot ideas for your next book. You're not alone. And there are people out there that are willing to help you. And in fact, the only way to get anywhere in life is by finding the people in life who will be willing to help you. And that's all I've got for today. It's a short one, and I appreciate you all for being here. If you all be so kind as to, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm back here every week talking here online. I'm hoping to have a guest next week. I've got 2 lined up, and we're hoping to get it sorted, scheduling-wise. Again, please check out the QR code up on the top left here, or top left for me, and it's top left anyways. And I hope you check it on out. All of my links are there for my books, my shirts, and otherwise. Upcoming events, please go to www.playsprowrestling.com. It's all good. I appreciate everyone for being here live on whatever stream this is. Please like, comment, share, all those good things. You guys are wonderful. It means the world to me that people bother giving me the time of day at all. I don't know if I deserve it, but I accept it happily. And so I'll bring the music back in if you can hear it. I'm going to bring up my closing screen, and that'll be all. Thank you, everybody. It's the Outlaw Night. I'll see you all next week.